Welcome to Coastal Conversations. Here are your hosts, Sara Carter and Brian Mackay.
Welcome into Coastal Conversations. I am one of your hosts, Brian Mackay, and I am with
Sara Carter.
Yes, and basically we just want to throw something up there to, give you guys some content and let you know a little bit about the show, how it came about, how we know each other, where we come from, our backgrounds, and where they intertwined at one point when it came to, women's basketball. We'll have a lot of that. We'll bring in a bunch of guests from our worlds of yesterday and today, and Sarah will do her CrossFit, bring in a little bit of health and nutrition. And, unless she really wants me to take the lead on that, because that's my area.
Oh, you can take the lead on that, BMac. Oh, yeah. So back when we were talking, I think it was last year, Brian, we were on the phone. It was that time of year, women's basketball, Final Four, job openings, where coaches are going, that kind of stuff. And I called Brian. I said, why are we not doing a podcast? We could talk about anything and everything, from women's basketball all the way down to health and nutrition, and just kind of like he said, talk about our backgrounds, how we know each other, and we finally decided to make this happen.
Yeah, and as far as like the health and nutrition part, for y'all that don't know, well, I've already gone country, y'all. Okay, for you all that don't know, Sarah owns a CrossFit gym here on the Mississippi Gulf Coast, and a CrossFit PortSide. Check them out, CrossFitPortside.com.
Go like the page.
That's right. Go check it out. Go look at all the social media. You got Facebook, Twitter and Instagram. So she'll have a lot of people from that world that she can bring in and we can talk to and give you a little insight on that. And she has her own insight as well about basically how she got that started and where she hopes to go with it. I mean, it's just something that I've noticed just watching from afar because, clearly I don't participate. But I've seen from afar, it's just she's constantly evolving with the times and just constantly changing with the way the world is and the way things, just to bring in more customers, she has to do that. You have to evolve, you have to change, and she's doing that seemingly every day. But, so that ought to be a good time. And I can't wait to bring in, we got some high-profile names in our phone contact list, and it'd be interesting to see if we can get some of them to come in, because I definitely will be sending this episode to a few of them to let them know that we're thinking about them.
I think you got more high-profile names in your pocketbook than I do, but I got a few. Yeah,
so it should be a lot of fun. Anything else you'd like to?
Let's talk about how we know each other, how we met.
Okay.
I don't even know. No, I don't.
That's one of the questions I had to ask you. Do you remember how? I remember the first time I ever met you.
It was a long time ago.
It was. I was in the 7th grade, and you guys come in to play. I'm gonna say this because it's hilarious, but you guys came in to play our middle school team in the past. You being at St. John.
I must have been 8th grade.
You were in 8th grade, yes. And I remember this moment because I knew you didn't like personally know you, but I knew who you were, and because you were the little girl that played with all boys baseball team. It was in the paper, and just big time, and
big time, huh?
Big time to us.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I remember coming into the game. We had a girl on our team named Lisa Lee. Lisa Lee was about 6'2". She was an 8th grader. Never played basketball before in her life. She was 6'2", and that was why Dad told the middle school coach to keep her out.
That's about right.
Yeah. So she's out there warming up. We're going through warm-up lines, and I remember Allie yelling for me, telling me to come over. And I remember both of y'all standing there. That's when I first met you, and y'all both asked me, "What's up with the big girl?" And I was like, "What are y'all talking about?" The big girl on y'all's team. What kind of trouble is she gonna be? And I looked over there and I saw Lisa, and I fell out laughing. I said, "She just looks good getting off the bus."
Oh Lord!
There ain't nothing even to worry about there. And I love Lisa to this day. I'm just messing with her, but yeah, she was definitely a project then, and
and all 4'10" of me probably said, "Oh man, we got a 6'2" to deal with."
Yeah, and going on from there. Obviously, Sarah didn't last long on her middle school team because her high school team moved her up. High school coach Renee Ladner, Allie's mother. Future boss for both of us, and basically she act like she's been our boss our whole life still to
She's
today.
still bossing me around.
So
Trying.
So we got there, and the day Sarah moved up, my dad tells his story better than anyone because he was always, he had really good success against St. John because St. John to this point had not had a great reputation. And, Renee was in the process of building something, and it was coming along and doing well. But when Sarah got there, she pretty much put it over the top. Now, I may not be able to fit in this room very much longer if I keep pumping her head up like that. And, but from the time Sarah got moved up, Dad never beat St. John again. And I'd love to tell you that we did because for years I fought with all the St. John girls about who was the better team.
Well, if I remember correctly, there were times that you started on your dad's bench in the past. And at the second half, after halftime, Brian was now sitting on St. John's bench.
Okay, let's clear this up, people. My dad, when he was coaching, you couldn't talk to him. He was a different person. He was just so focused, getting ready for games. He just became a whole different person than what he is now. People know him as. But then, it was like Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde. And
aren't all coaches like that?
Yes, but here's the problem. When we played St. John, and he's coaching against his friend Renee Ladner, they would literally stand there in the middle of the games talking to each other. Because St. John's benches were so close together in that old little gym, they would stand there and would have conversations with each other. I'm thinking, no, we're supposed to be trying to beat them. What are you doing? So, it came a point where I'm gonna follow a winner. I ain't gonna lie. I'm gonna follow a winner in a heartbeat. And when things fell apart at the pass, which wasn't nothing of Dad's fault. It just he had the best luck in the world when it came to players getting pregnant and players getting injured and all different things that happened to him. But there were times in my younger, more competitive days where I definitely like to follow a winner. And I'm going to get in trouble for that when I see all your old teammates.
Hey, winners we were, but no, those were fun times, and we remained friends throughout, obviously, our high school years, and then I went off to play at South Alabama.
And if I could stop you right there, I have to say this on air because it has to be recorded somewhere that someone said this. First of all, she goes to South Alabama because she couldn't get recruited by anybody, which was ridiculous. And I say it, and I hope I say it one more time. It was ridiculous. But as the three big schools in our state found out during her time at South Alabama, Sarah's a winner. It doesn't matter if she's 4'10", 5 foot, whatever. She's going to find a way to win because she's going to be the hardest worker on the floor. And she's going to always outwork anybody she's playing against. And as the three big schools, and I call them out, University of Southern Mississippi, Ole Miss, Mississippi State, they all found out during her time at USA, at South Alabama, because she beat all three of them. I mean, I can remember hearing about her game winner against Ole Miss and coming into, I guess it was her junior or senior year at South Alabama when Mississippi State came down to Mobile. I remember this to this day. Steve Curtis was an assistant coach on the Mississippi State team. And Dad played high school ball with him and was good friends with him, throughout the years. So we were talking to him before the game. And basically, Dad said, what kind of chance do y'all have of winning this game? Because at the time, they had just lost LaToya Thomas.
Tan White was
still there.
Yeah.
And, still had a pretty good team. And basically, Steve was, this game, it won't be no problem. Won't be no problem. That was his exact words. And that was basically how he dismissed it. And their game plan, which I don't understand why anybody would have this game plan because they had to watch tape, was to take their bigger guards and post up Sarah, completely go away from everything they've been doing all year long, which teams did that all the time. South Alabama obviously wound up winning and won by a lot.
We tore them up.
Yeah, it was not even close.
Well, what people don't understand is it's a lot easier for a smaller guard, smaller post to actually guard a bigger kid. But anyway, they tried that game plan. My head coach, Rick Petrie, was able to get us to do game plans and convince us that we could beat people left and right. So, yeah, I didn't get recruited by my state people, but that's all right. I got to hit the winning shot against Ole Miss, beat Mississippi State, and beat Southern Miss. So, pretty happy about those moments and my time at South Alabama.
Yeah, and fast forward from there, I go off to Ole Miss to school. Sarah, after me being there a year as a manager, Sarah comes in as a GA my second year. So Hurricane Katrina hits.
Oh, yeah, sure does.
Yeah, and that was a rough time for everyone involved. And we both lost our homes down here on the coast.
Yeah.
And not only that, there was no contact with our families.
No, I mean, I remember. You remember being in the office?
Yeah.
Storm hits. We're not sure what's going on. Can't get in touch with anybody. I remember one of my best friends when I was younger somehow texted me and said the Fanicas have been pushed to their third story. And this is on 2nd Street, straight off the beach. And I looked at Brian. I said, we don't have homes. I remember sitting in Coach Ross's office, telling her that our families pretty much lost everything at that point. And I mean, we had to go to Walmart, buy essentials, for our parents. That was a hard thing to do. So just the basic necessities. And yeah, that was year one at Ole Miss for me. And I mean, we kind of had to take a little siesta at that point, go back and forth and dig through debris. And anyway,
yeah,
the grew stronger, closer.
Yeah, and I mean, for me, and this is something, we can get into in future episodes, but I know that year and the year after that, for me, I just became... my first year as a manager, I was not on scholarship. I worked my butt off to earn that scholarship the next year whenever we lost some other managers, to graduation. And for my second and third year, I know I became another person. And I fully admit that now today in 2018. With Hurricane Katrina, it just really did something to me. And I probably should have been talking to people, like as far as, just getting a little, just psychological help. Because it was part immaturity and part just me being a stubborn person. When Katrina hit, my parents and my family lost their homes. Luckily, none of them were lost because they were actually in Oxford with me during the time of the storm. But, we go home and we lose everything when you go home and see that. Just having them dealing with that, having them, living out of a FEMA trailer for the next couple of years while the house is rebuilt, and just constantly, just all the stuff that came with that, it was rough. It was a rough time, and I'm the first to admit that I know that I was not the greatest person in the world to be around during that time. So it was nice to have people like Sarah around, people like that I was close to. It was nice to have them there because, they helped a little bit. But like I said, if I had it to do over again, I would have definitely spoken to somebody that could have, helped me mentally, because I quit. I quit going to class. I had everything just shut down for me because it was something I just wasn't dealing with properly.
Mm-hmm. You probably weren't the only one.
No, but I mean, just as far as our story, I know that it was a rough couple of years, and I didn't do anything to help that. You fast forward from there, I graduate. Sarah is still there as a GA. She trying to get into the coaching world as an assistant coach. She finally gets a break at Louisiana Tech for Chris Long. What was it? Just 6 months into your time?
We had 9 or 10 games left in the season, and Coach Long gets fired.
Yeah,
here I am, first year, assistant coach, got my break. At a story tradition school in Louisiana Tech. 3 national championships, tons of All-Americans, Wade Trophy winners, who one Wade Trophy winner took over, and that was Teresa Weatherspoon. She took over. We went on a major run, and also within that time, when I took this job, at Tech, one of my coaches who coached me at South Alabama was also there, and Loretta Wilcher. She and I have grown extremely close. And she and I both, after that stint at Tech, I ended up staying another 4 years, but both of us are now out of college coaching and have both pursued entrepreneurial routes. So it was a great experience. You know, I've went to Hawaii 5 times. I've traveled all over the world.
Literally.
Yeah. So that's
love the whack travel.
Love the whack travel. Go to Moscow, Idaho. I mean, there was a lot of good that came out of it. I just decided that it was time for me to take a different route. My neighbor at the time said my brother's starting a CrossFit gym in Ruston. That's how it all began. Yep. And I looked at I guess I told my mom. My mom was like, "Well, I'm doing CrossFit." I'm like, "Oh gosh, well, okay. I guess I'm gonna go try it." Walked in early on CrossFit Ruston and fell in love with it. And so I did not realize until deep into my final year at Tech that like how into it I was. And I realized what I really wanted to do when we went out to Vegas. We're staying at the Palms, and that's where our tournament was. And I took a like $30 taxi cab to go to a CrossFit gym. And I was like, okay, I think that my mind has shifted, and I want to go home, open a CrossFit gym, and help people. Help people with their fitness, help people with their nutrition, help people with their mindset, help people sleep better. So all that has shifted. And 5 years later, I'm still running CrossFit PortSide.
And if we could just rewind a little bit, when Sarah took the job at Tech, I remember thinking, wow, okay, I haven't really had any job opportunities come. Like I've been, to a bunch of interviews. I graduated college, haven't anything fall my way yet. I said, I wonder what my chances are of getting Sarah's job. So I remember calling Sarah. And now, I told you guys earlier how rough I was the last 2 years as the manager. So I kind of knew that it would be, it would be a little bit of a stretch. I'd have to go in there and really prove myself. And I asked Sarah what she thought about me applying for it and, trying to get after it. And she basically told me as much. I remember that conversation to this day. And I knew that going in, so it didn't surprise me. But I knew that if I did get a chance, that I would go in there and try and do my best to change the mindset of how people perceive me. And so I did. I got the job, and I'm there the exact same time as Sarah's at La Tech. We talk some here and there. We basically. Video exchange, film exchange is what my biggest duty was, and she would always be very helpful on their end. Now, in 2018, I think it's so easy for everybody to do it that
click a button.
Yeah, so basically, it's making video coordinators almost obsolete. Yeah. I mean, you have to have some other skills in your repertoire to be a good video coordinator nowadays. So fast forward a few years, my staff is let go. So I'm basically out the job. This honestly first real. I had a bunch of other jobs in my lifetime, but this is the first true real one in my mind. And here I am. The staff's let go. I don't know what to do because I never dealt with anything like this in my life. I call a bunch of people, get on the phone, have a bunch of different things, try to get some interviews set up. Nothing ever really comes to fruition. Then I wound up talking to Sarah. And just so happened their director of operations was leaving to take another job. And she told me that she would, throw my name in there just to kind of get Coach Spoon, just thinking, about bringing me in for an interview. And got me an interview, came in there, and let me tell you, Teresa Weatherspoon, I love you to this day because I would never forget my interview. It literally was just nothing but a conversation. It was the easiest interview I've ever done in my life. I mean, we spent maybe 20, 30 minutes just sitting there, and we talked very little about, what I was going to do or what I would be doing if I got the job there. We talked, and once the talk turned to her legacy and what she's done in her time, and different stories I've heard, different things I know about her, and her time at WNBA, and once we start talking about all that, and all my knowledge of different WNBA players, and my background of knowing, Van Chancellor and Debbie Antonelli and people like that, she got a kick out of that, and we went from there. And when she told me at the end of the interview if the job was mine, if I wanted it, I accepted it right then and there. I didn't even give it a thought. I really just because one, I needed a job, and two, it's La Tech. Like Sarah was saying, if you ever got a chance to see the Thomas Assembly Center at La Tech, just walking around, it's like a museum. Everything they have in there. They got the national championship banners. You got all the different players, both men and women, that have played there.
Yeah, so, Carl Malone and Teresa to be two of the biggest.
Yeah, so I'm glad you brought up Carl, because that's where my next little story was going. Carl Malone is obviously big time alumni there, just loved by everybody. He and Spoon were very good friends, and he always opened up his house for the team to, certain meals throughout that. Now, Carl owns probably every restaurant on the second exit in Ruston. All the real estate is basically his, but his house is just, it's something special to see. First of all, when you walk in,
first of all, he lives in Ruston, Louisiana.
Yeah, Ruston, Louisiana. But if you
can live anywhere,
if you ever get a chance to know him, you understand why. Yeah. This is the biggest country boy I've ever met in my life.
Mm-hmm.
And but no, he's just so down to earth, easy to talk to. His house, I remember the first time I was ever in it, I'm looking around and I'm thinking, wow, this guy has every single animal he's ever hunted in his life stuffed, hanging on walls. He's got a buffalo full size stuffed all the way down to the sack. I don't know the way to say that. And that was impressive to me. I was just like, wow. Yeah. And he's got a room that is full of memorabilia. And this is my favorite story. I tell this story to people all the time. And it's some parts of it are fabricated, but a lot of it's not. There's a memorabilia room where it has all his jersey, all his, different gold medals, different just everything he's done in basketball in this room. And it's like a museum. You're walking around, you're looking at everything. So they had already found out, basically, the whole staff found out maybe like day 2 that I can be a bit of a smartass. And it's just my way, it's my nature. Don't mean anything by it. I just try to be funny every once in a while when the timing is right. So I said, Carl's not here. I'm just gonna throw this out there because it seems like this like a crowd that might enjoy me doing this. So Miss K is giving us a tour. Yeah. Spoon's with us. I said, all right. So I'm starting. I'm looking around. I'm looking hard. I'm really just searching for something. That's how I'm acting. And I remember Spoon said, Brian, what are you looking for? And I said, I don't see him. He said, you don't see what? I said, the championship ring.
Oh.
I don't see it. And literally,
yikes!
Literally, at the moment I said rings, it's like it got real quiet in the room. I said, damn, I thought that would be a funny joke. And all of a sudden, I get this big old finger tap me on the back of my shoulder. And I went, oh, Lord. So, long story short, after Carl let my air go back into my lungs from the headlock he put me in, yeah, so that literally, I tell that story to everybody and they love it. They think it's hilarious because basically, I'm trying to be a smart ass and I get my comeuppance for it.
Yeah.
In the end, but no, he winds up being someone that was really cool to be around, and I only spent 1 year there. A lot of health issues was really the biggest reason that I left. And Sarah left me, and I was not staying in Ruston without Sarah. No, just kidding. But no, had Crohn's disease. Had a bunch of different flare-ups that year, where just seemed like I was in the hospital more than I was in the office at one point. It was basically like a burnout situation. I just come off losing my job at another school and then get there and get sick and, having to deal with everything. And it was a different situation. I'll be the first to say I love Louisiana Tech. I enjoyed the year I did spend there, and I love the people I met. I talk to many of them still to this day. Mm-hmm. Just keeping in touch. So anyway, fast forward now, we've left there. Sarah's opening up her CrossFit gym while I'm trying to, 1, recover from being sick, Two, just needing to have a job. On the outside, try to help Sarah wherever I can as far as putting her stuff together. And I guess we can pick it up from there. Now here we are, 2018. And
now here we are, sitting in front of mics.
Sitting in front of microphones.
Hoping people want to listen to our country asses talk.
Yeah, if anyone that's wondering, the 2 or 3 people that are listening to this that might actually listen to my other podcast with my friend T. Davis, the Mac and T Show, I will be doing, just like I did for that show, I will be doing the same. And I'll mark different, if we talk about different categories throughout our episodes, I'll mark the times and put it down in the description below so you can fast forward at your will if you don't want to listen to certain things. You can fast forward to other things that we talk about. Yeah, so that's pretty much it. That's going to be the show. Well, I think it'll be a lot of fun. I'm looking forward to it. Been looking forward to it for a while, even ever since I gave you the green light and told you I'm ready for it.
Yeah, it's no telling, too, what kind of tirade we might get on. As you can see, I said, well, let's keep this one short, and but that's about how it goes.
Yeah.
And that's kind of where our friendship is. I mean, we could, not talk for a month and then have one phone conversation that lasts 3 hours, and we've talked about everything under the sun. So it's going to be a lot of fun. Some short, some longer episodes, but I think if you stay tuned, stick with us, and like he said, he'll put time marks and stamps of what you might want to listen to. But it's not all just going to be sports, and it's not all just going to be CrossFit. It's not all just going to be nutrition and health, and we'll steer a little away from politics, but who knows what we'll throw your way and talk about.
And also, please follow us on the social media. You can look us up on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. Just search for Coastal Combos. CoastalConvos. I've been practicing that for 2 weeks now, and I still struggle. So yeah, at CoastalConvos. Coastal Combos for all 3 of those. And the email address is coastalcombos@gmail.com. Please look us up on iTunes. It'll be on iTunes, Google Play. So not only just your iPhone users, you'll be able to do it on Android and different devices. Looking forward to it. This ought to be fun.
Rock on. Let's do it.
All right. Thank y'all for listening.
Thank you for listening to Coastal Conversations.